6:30? All right, we have 6:30, we'll call the meeting to order. And do you need to adjust the agenda?
I do need to adjust the agenda because I have forgotten to put on approval of minutes for August 31st and September 11th.
What were the dates again?
August 31st and September 11th.
And maybe other business? Did you usually, that was on the other agendas, I don't know where you put it on this one.
So what?
Other business, usually at the end.
And let's throw in other business at the end of this one like I usually have.
Report. In case any of us.
All right, we'll go, when we get that, we'll go to the minutes for, with your pleasure, on August 31st and September 11th.
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes as written of August 31st and September 11th.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Here, citizens? Go ahead, sir.
I guess it's not really part of the official agenda, but I am doing my due diligence for my street. I live on 88 Depot, at 88 Depot Street in Proctorsburg. You guys are all familiar with the bank. And so this coming Saturday, I've been tasked to ask the select board to approve or help us curb traffic from 3 o'clock to the better part of 6:30. As you all know, that's been the biggest hit in our fine town, and we are asking you guys to help us curb traffic so that our neighbors and our community can come down and see where we're at, where we're all at, and have some food and listen to some music and do an unofficial block party. So we are hoping, there's a lot of formalities that normally go into this, but I would wager if we waited for a lot of formal help from a variety of other people back in July, we would all still be underwater. So I'm hoping we can waive those formalities and you all can come down as well and come celebrate our community and our town who helped us at least put most of our homes back together. We all still have a long road ahead of us, but before it gets cold, maybe we can all get together.
Is your
Problem with that?
No, I heard about the block party mid last week, and I think it was, and I was like, well, before we shut down a road, it really should go through the select board. So it's, but you're not looking for town help to shut down the road?
Not necessarily, just
permission to shut down.
Permission from, let's say the Crow kind of parking lot, so at least people can get around the green.
Yeah.
Egress to the bridge. Obviously,
Which it was closed most of the summer as is.
The road was unofficially closed most of the summer.
Do we have some signs we could, just say?
We could probably we can come up with some signs for road close. I'm pretty sure.
You said Saturday?
Saturday.
Yes.
The biggest thing is we'll have to make sure that the Heartland Dispatch knows it's closed as well, so they can, if anybody, low ambulance or anything needs to get somewhere, they can get the right direction. So you're 3 o'clock to 6:30?
Yeah, 3 o'clock to 6:30, 3 o'clock to 7.
I would not just call Hartford, you'd have to call,
Ludlow and,
Ludlow Dispatch.
Yeah,
yep,
probably the sheriff's too.
yep.
Yeah, it's been a while since there's been a block party there, huh? Used to have some good ones, I remember.
So it's your pleasure. Any other comments or concerns, or? If
Do we
not,
need a motion?
yeah, we should vote on it, yes.
Okay.
I'll make said motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? You're set to go.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay.
And you said we're invited?
Absolutely.
Well, I live in the neighborhood, so I'll let
Right.
It's too loud.
That day, but
You can just walk down.
Yeah.
All right. If there's nothing else from here, citizens,
That sounds great, thanks.
Yes, unfortunately, due to an electronic error, my email to the town manager did not go through with the continuing discussion about the academy building, but I have forwarded to him in hopes that he will distribute to you all the request that me and my potential buyer have made to the select board to alter that decision made in 1986. I also included a letter from the Vermont Preservation Trust in a meeting that we had with her in the last month, also looking into what they will allow be done to the building. And so now have that, hopefully that will be circulated to you, I'm sure it will be circulated to you.
It will be, yep.
And then I guess next month we will hopefully get on the agenda and be able to discuss it further and
Mm-hmm.
hopefully after many months move forward.
Yeah, so there's, I guess legally you just change the wording, or, because it does say in there like no residence for heirs and assigns in perpetuity and all this like stuff, but I guess
Right,
it doesn't really mean anything if you change it, right?
I mean, what we
How's
found
that
is that this group in 1986, of which none of you were there, put that restriction on, so we're asking that this group now alter that restriction. Chris, who is the potential buyer at this point, has laid out his plans for a mixed use of that building. We also spoke with the Preservation Trust of Vermont to discuss what can and cannot be done to the building. What they have said is the downstairs is historically irrelevant now due to changes made well before my tenure there. But the upstairs has historical relevance. The upstairs is amazing. And that needs to be kept as is, which is exactly the plan. But look at a residential use upstairs, perhaps a residential commercial use downstairs. We also discussed the land of that building, and the building, what I own is no land. The land is owned by the town. He would like to take over maintenance of the land. He doesn't want to own the land, but maintain it. In other words, plow it, mow it, landscape it, etc. And he may request that there are a couple spots out there reserved for tenants of that building. We all know that that parking lot is not heavily used, and I know when I occupied that building, the tenants here respected the various parking spots of the regulars of that building, so I don't foresee any problem there.
Yeah, I guess the land question is, because there's no land, and so.
Yeah, and he doesn't want to own the land, he's just like, let them maintain it,
Right,
because
but then you have to define
you'll
what that
have
is,
an opportunity to maintain,
of
you know,
what that land
standards
is,
that
right?
somebody living in the building would, as opposed to, it needs, like, the railroad ties have been beaten up by plows over the years. We did put flower boxes out there, but they're now disintegrated, so.
very good. Right, that is it. We'll move on to representatives from the Cavendish Labs to speak.
Yeah, that's me.
No, Robin, you're next.
What? Oh, my.
You're next.
You're next.
Never mind. I'm coming soon.
We had the little meet and greet at Cavendish Labs there. It might have been, was it last week? 2 weeks ago? But it was great, and they were great. We talked about it, and there was a little bit of confusion, I think, about what they actually do. So we decided it'd be a good idea for them to come over and just kind of introduce themselves.
And they all showed up.
And they all showed up.
Would you like us to stand up and walk out front, or?
Whatever you prefer.
Yeah, whatever is easier for you.
Stand up.
It's so warm.
No, Robin, we're all.
Right.
So, hello everyone. My name's Joe. I'm one of the directors of Cavendish Labs, along with Derek and Andrew here. So we are a relatively young 501c3 nonprofit dedicating to solving a few problems that we consider to be quite important. So we had so we've tried to get to know the town a little more by, organizing this party. I'm sure many of you probably got little gifts in the mail with invitations to this. So we did that, and so through a few of our outreach things, we found there was a little bit of confusion about what we do, so we just wanted to come here and clear that up.
So
Now-
what do you do?
If you, because your explanation of why the gifts versus the mail was,
Oh,
I found interesting,
Yes.
and it made sense to me once you said that.
so it costs 66 cents to send a letter in the mail. However, with Amazon Prime, it only costs 48 cents to ship a can of tomato sauce or a bag of pasta to some address. And so we actually found that it would be cheaper to just mass mail cans of tomato sauce and bags of pasta to the entire town of Cavendish. That would be much cheaper than sending letters. It's incredible world that Amazon's kind of ushered in. But yes, so this is the reason why many of you probably got these gifts. And if you're sad that you didn't get a gift, which I know some people are, so we didn't send it to every single household in Cavendish. We just sent it to, we sent it to some number of houses. I think it was the ones where homesteads were declared. So, as you know, there are a lot of houses that are not really in use except during the ski season. So we didn't send it to those, and we hoped that word would get around, and it sounds like it did, but there are pros and cons to word getting around, I guess.
So in terms of the work that we do, perhaps the first thing I should say is that currently this is all computational. So we're not actually mixing together chemicals. Our work is concentrated in two areas. The safety of advanced artificial intelligence systems and a study of a type of ultraviolet light that we believe can kill off viruses and bacteria while being harmless to humans. And this is all a computational study. It's just done with the computer models. We're not actually dealing with any live viruses or bacteria.
Yeah, and I guess finally, we really love Cavendish and the town. It's beautiful. A lot of the people we've met are great. So we'd like to, say thank you for the warm welcome so far. And yeah, hopefully if, anyone has any more questions about what we do, you can find our email on our website or just talk to us. We're on 2203 Main Street. And we're always here to answer questions about our work and the other things that we do.
Our website being cavendishlabs.org.
Yes, and if you'd like, you can send an email to hello@cavendishlabs.org if you have questions for us, or you want to maybe work with us on something. We'd love to do more community outreach. We also welcome questions right here. Does anyone have anything?
I'd like a t-shirt.
We do sell t-shirts for $10 a piece.
Are you connected with any of the other Cavendish labs that are in Canada and England?
No, we are unrelated to the Cavendish Laboratory at the University of Cambridge, although we do admire their work.
And we have had several people who had worked there come here to work for the other Cavendish labs, meaning this one.
Mm-hmm. So what is your AI, what are you trying to do with the AI part of it?
Well, we have several projects basically working on, reducing risk from advanced AI systems. One specific project we're working on now is making these systems more interpretable. So right now, lots of these systems get treated as black boxes because they have, billions or even trillions of parameters. And it's very hard to understand what a trillion numbers in a matrix does. So we're trying to sort of figure out ways to go into this mess of numbers and understand why it's doing what it's doing. And if we can do that, we'll have much better ways of controlling artificial intelligence in the future, which is probably our longer term goal.
Yeah, everybody's saying it needs to be regulated, that's for sure.
Right.
I just feel like, you must have come here from another planet somewhere. I just want to say welcome. How fantastic to have young people, venturing. It's great. It's great. And are you guys living here too?
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
First of all, you're obviously a bunch of highly intelligent, bunch of young people, and read lots, but I did have some questions. Well, let's just start out with one. What kind of computing power do you have here?
So we have a few grants from Access, which is sort of a network of various supercomputing centers in the U.S. So that's where most of our current compute comes from, is remote supercomputing clusters.
And I'll just be honest, when I saw your announcement, there were some things I wasn't real happy with. I mean, for example, the announcement didn't say who any of you were. There was no, president or whatever, the various people. There was none of that. And I found that, as far as I can see, you guys haven't actually done any peer-reviewed research, right? There's a bunch of things you refer to which actually are not even part of your group. I mean, the tabs you have on that announcement are not actually for you guys, it's for this effective altruism group. And they're not peer reviewed either. So can you tell me a little more about what you've actually done in the past?
Sure. Actually, I'd like to add that one of our publications was just published in Nature on predicting the future of AI. You can find a link to this on our publications tab on our website. I think what you were looking at was an announcement of ours made on a forum, which you're correct, was not a place for peer-reviewed research. However, I would add to this that in many fields of AI, their fields are quickly moving, and so the standard for the field for people publishing research is to put it first on non-peer-reviewed platforms such as archive.org. And some of these are eventually published in journals, but more and more just due to just how fast-moving the process is. For instance, if any of you have heard of ChatGPT, this wasn't around a year ago. This is brand new, and the time that even since this came out, there's been many advances in AI, and the time to publish something in a journal typically is like on the order of a year.
Yeah, for context, the peer-reviewed paper that we published today, we'd written it last August. So it took us like a year and 2 months to publish something through peer review. So, we might publish more things with peer review, but a lot of our research is something that we would like to get out to the world like faster than the current peer review process allows.
In addition, the EA forum post that I think you're referring to was more designed as, I guess, a recruitment method than actually showing off our results. We're a fairly new nonprofit as well.
Good answer. You said Nature, it's coming out in Nature.
Yeah, Nature Machine Intelligence.
So take a look.
So guys, if I can say, because I've had so much fun talking with these guys on Sundays, and I am recruiting them to hopefully start a project with the school. The school is very excited to have scientists in the community. It's something we haven't had. But I think of these guys as like what Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, that's what they were like at this age. They were off and doing their own thing, and this is the wave of where things are going. So I think it's exciting that they capitalized on Cavendish's name and are here. And yes, this is way cheaper than trying to live in Boston and do this. And I certainly hope they attract more friends, because this is a low impact business in terms of environmentally. But it brings youth in our community, and did you all sign up to help with the schools putting up I sent you that.
Yeah, we've gotten in touch with them. But
Yeah. So we're working at things, but they're, well, everybody knows me well enough to know that when I meet people and I see where they might be helpful to our community, happy to push that process along. But they offer a lot. And it was a wonderful party. We had fun. It was there.
Yeah.
Those of us, it was a bad night though.
Rainy night.
Thank you again for your brownies.
Thanks so
Yeah,
much.
I'm glad you liked them. Maybe get the wrong idea about those things. But I think some people in town watch too much Creature Feature, which was pretty, some of the comments were pretty funny, but I'm glad you came tonight.
Well, hope you have a fun.
Yes.
How are you being funded, guys?
So we're currently funded by grants from other charitable foundations that share the goal of preventing risks to the sort of like the sort of things that could be very disastrous. Like AI, if it goes well, it could go very well, but if it goes badly, it could go very badly. And pandemics, I mean, on the scale of things, we could see a lot worse than COVID this century. So yeah, and we're still also we're waiting to hear back from a couple more funders, but we're still in the process of raising more sustainable funding.
Yeah, so mostly grant funding at this point in time.
Governmental?
No, not governmental. So far, they've all been private, except for the supercomputing grants.
And are these for specific projects or just general?
Unrestricted funding.
So far, they've been general
A
support.
specific project?
No. They've been
Well-
general support for the whole labs.
Yeah, the government grants have been for specific projects, but like the operations grants have not been for specific projects.
Any other questions from the board?
No, I was just hope you are able to keep residents in town.
Going, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
We hope so too.
Thank you very much, guys.
We'll go to 2, CCA, to discuss flood hazard preparation.
That's me. Okay. So I actually wrote down what I wanted to say because I haven't spoke at any of these meetings in so long. I thought I'd get tongue-tied. So the Conservation Committee of the CCCA approached Stephen Plunker to see if he would be willing to give a presentation/discussion on revisioning our response to events such as the flooding we recently experienced. Extreme rainfall events are happening more often, as we know, and the Vermont Regional Planning Commissions are looking at how we manage flooding in our watersheds in a proactive way. The model that has been followed from the federal government down has been to send aid after disasters rather than looking for a new way forward, often rebuilding the same way things were and in the same spots. And that's a quote from Stephen from a prior select board meeting. As you know, Stephen is highly qualified to address this subject. He is currently a teacher and lecturer at Norwich University and is examining this dilemma and how we can move towards change. And he agrees that it's important to bring this topic to our community for more informational kind of meeting, input and discussion, and he's willing to lead that meeting. We know Stephen is recovering right now from an accident, but he expects to be fully able to do this. And we're looking at November 20th as the date, so it's a ways away. And it really is a very different way. It's not coming in after the fact, but looking at ways to mediate the possibility of having to pour more money, time, and funds to rebuild as we've been rebuilding in places that are likely to be washed out again. And we are definitely going to invite all the select board members to come to the meeting because we think it's something that would involve the town, obviously at some point, the planning commission as well, so it would have to be warned, Stephen told me. And so I'm here today to put this forward.
Is Kelly Stetner involved with this?
No.
Because Kelly did a phenomenal water expo, probably 6 weeks ago. Reese had been there, I was there, They had the Connecticut River Association, I think Stefan. We have, those of us that have been working on the front lines of this, we are so concerned because I've been in and out of Stefan's house. I don't even know how many times we've been up there and on Depot Street. And that is my single biggest fear. How do we stop this from ever happening again? And Kelly's Water Expo, it's online. It was done up at Jackson Gore, Pima Valley TV. Take that. She had all of the right people there to really talk about how to do hazardous mitigations, how to do your banks, why you don't armor. It was a really amazing presentation, and I would really suggest that people watch that. And anything you do, Kelly has funding. She works with Connecticut River Valley. You got money before from Connecticut River Valley to do riparian. She is such a dynamic
Well, that might be something, when we look at doing this presentation, we might loop her into it in some way, or how, we'll figure that out as we go. But obviously there are resources. The idea really is to try to get as many community members as possible to begin thinking differently about this. Like, thank God we can breathe. It's not raining, we're fine. And then, rather than having a proactive thing like, well, what do we do now? And I will just say one example is, and there must be many, but on Davis Road, this last big rainfall totally carved out the place, that completely carved out, with Irene. And they threw in tons and tons and tons of stone, and they rebuilt the road. And it's at that curve in the river, and the next huge rainfall, you know what the power of water is like. When you were by any of the streams during these flooding events, the water throws boulders around like they were, popcorn, frankly. And not quite, that's an exaggeration, pebbles. But it's, so rebuilding again and again in the same, the amount of resources and money it takes to do that and time is extraordinary. So how do we start thinking differently about this? Getting community input. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're looking at November 20th, and once Stephen is back functioning and out and about, we'll confirm that with you guys and have it warned. Okay.
Okay, good.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Number 3, Craft and Cheese letter of support.
Grafton Village Cheese Company is looking for a letter of support for a grant. They've gotten letters of support from SRDC and our planning commission. They're looking to move into the old Black Road Produce, where they're gonna, have upwards of 10 new jobs in town. And of course, we all want to have new businesses and people move in. So I think I just want to bring it to the board's attention, and we can show our support, and I'll write a letter of recommendation for them.
I'll move that we support him, or have a letter of recommendation for the Grafton Village Cheese store.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none?
Now, that building does sit, and I have not gotten any flood permits on that yet. So, that's gonna hopefully not throw a loop or anything bad into this, but I would probably incorporate that into the letter as well, that follow the flood hazard regulations.
All right. Town Energy Chapter.
The Planning Commission had finished their required hearings and voted unanimously to accept this chapter and send it to the board. And we obviously the board has to have their own hearings on this. I believe it's only one hearing that's required. And that meeting has to be within 30 to 120 days. I imagine we're within that 30-day period now or close to it. So anytime from here till the end of the year, we'd have to have a meeting, a hearing on this. I believe it has to be warned for 15 days on those.
So maybe December, we give
Right.
plenty of leeway to be in all those different. How many days, mornings?
I can put that on for December sometime,
And then you,
early December.
once we
Yeah.
have the hearing, if it's, I guess often, I know in the past, we then voted, after the hearing.
You can vote to adopt if you don't change a whole lot to it,
Right.
Will somebody from the Energy Commission be at the meeting? I've read
Planning.
through parts of it and had some questions.
Not
Not criticism, just questions.
Right, they absolutely could be.
Just clarifying stuff.
Yep.
Mhm. You got that, Captain? Oh, that was
Yeah.
something.
40 some odd pages.
Yeah.
I read through the 17.
All right, then we're good there. We'll move on to Old Garage update.
I think as you can remember, we filed for an extension to come up with this work plan from Weston and Sampson. This stems from the spill that happened in April or March, this spring, I should say. So this work plan was put together, and we got that back, and they basically, I think it boils down to 2.5 months worth of work that they're gonna do before we'll have any idea of the extent of anything. So we probably know by the first of the year. I'll have more to report on it then. I believe the earliest they could get any drillers here was the 22nd of November. So they'll be starting to do that work.
And if they find and there is work to be done, then we'd have to hire somebody, but insurance, I guess.
We're still working on the insurance part of that to make sure it's covered. If the petroleum cleanup fund is also an available source for this, but they only pay is if your insurance does not, kind of like FEMA. So, so we still have to make sure on the insurance before we go any other funding for that.
That's it. We'll move on to old business, roads update.
So, all the roads are now open and passable. We were down a few last month, but now they're all open. There's still quite a bit of work to completely finish the roads, though. They may all be open, but they're not finished. We're kind of doing a juggling match. The highway department's been working pretty hard, trying to get into some summer maintenance that was put on hold. So kind of juggling that between completely finishing the roads. You'll notice if you drive around that there's a few roads that either have very little gravel or top to them or none, and it's still 1.5 inch stone. We've got all the 3-inch covered up, but we still need a lot of gravel out there, but we feel pretty comfortable on where that is on the dirt roads for winter and the plowing season. So even if we can't get back to those, we can finish those up next year with the gravel. And the same with some of the paving. It's about impossible to find pavers right now. So some of the paving might get done next year, some of the smaller stuff. I'm still hoping that we can get Depot Street done this year, the sidewalk and the edge of the road and where we had that water cut. If I can't get them to come in and do everything, I really want to at least get that done. And I also kind of want to throw out there on this road report that we have a new telephone number for everybody to send pictures to of damaged roads. The number is 802-738-6445. Any roads in Cavendish, Proctorsville that were damaged or flood damage, send it to that number. The more pictures, the better. No damage is too small. But that phone is also, or that number is not a manned cell phone, so texts and phone calls to that are not answered. It's to receive pictures of flood damage. So. Surely there's some question on roads.
And I guess if people have pictures that aren't on their phones, they can just take them, or if they don't have a smartphone, is there some way?
And we contemplated on the easiest way to get the mass amount of pictures, and email was iffy. So, if somebody's driving around, my thought is they had pictures through their phone. So texting, it's probably the simplest.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to complicate it. I wanted everybody to be able to just go click and send it. So. But they can email it to me as well, any picture.
Okay, good. Yeah. And basically this is for documentation?
This is for documentation, and we have a lot of pictures, but it doesn't hurt to have too many. I don't believe you can have too many pictures. So, and it's, in front of somebody's house or their driveway that we didn't get to. It'd be nice to have, so.
All right. Manager's report.
So trying to think how I can slow this down. It seems to be going pretty quick here. The gravel.
Don't worry about us.
The gravel removal from the river is going very well. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to look at that. The original estimate I gave them and they bid off of was 30,000 yards. I think we're going to be pretty close to that 30,000. We probably could have gotten 100,000 if the state would have allowed us to just take everything, but you have to stay within the channel. So the contractor is working pretty closely with the state to make sure they're doing exactly, what they want. And all the material looks really good. Looks really good. It's going into our pit. We'll be using it for years to come.
Have to be crushed, I guess.
It'll have to be crushed, but even after crushing it, I'm pretty sure FEMA's going to cover this. Like I said in the last meeting, I'm not 100% sure because they're reimbursement and they can't tell you to go and do it. Everything I've been told seems like we'll get reimbursement. So my figure, it's about $8.25 a yard that we're getting that gravel for. That's with the crushing costs. So at 30,000 yards, that's a savings of $250,000 in the next, few years. It's money well spent to get it out of there.
Yeah.
I also want to bring up that the water department flushed hydrants last week. So we got that done for the fall. We also flushed it a few weeks before that because we had a nice water leak on Depot Street. I imagine everybody saw that there was a big hole in the road again for a few weeks. And the reason being is when we dug up the water line, we noticed that the drain structure was just rotted out completely, and that's actually what caused the water leak. All the soil underneath the water pipe was all gone, so that had to be replaced, and it's a very large one, so we had to have it. It had kind of had to be poured and made and sent to us. That held us off a couple weeks. And I also want to say that Grevin Field has started just recently, and when I mean recently, I mean the last few days. They're starting to do that, and we talked a little bit about that. Then their bid is to clean that up and do a little rough grading, but not to build the field back yet. That wasn't part of their original bid. I think some of that is going to come from working closely with Stephanie as well on getting material down and what she wants for material, but it'll look like it's possible to make fields again really soon, I hope. So, in time for spring.
How about the nature trail?
That is part of that. As they were going to clean up any of the. They're there to clean up any of the bigger stuff. I didn't want a lot of people. I think in there, walking around and driving through there until it was picked up. Just pop tires or somebody stepping on stuff. So now that it's now that the bigger stuff can be out of there, I think we can set up work crews and and get it cleaned up a little better. But they are still taking the bigger stuff out there too.
And Chris was still involved, or people were still involved with the volunteers.
I hope so. I haven't heard from Chris on this one in the last month, but I'm assuming he will be. And lastly, I want to welcome Gladys Seville. She's our new part-time office worker here at the town office. She started today, so so she had a good first day, as far as I know. I was stuck in here, but I'm assuming she didn't go running out of here, so I think she enjoyed it. So
I think she'll come back.
I think she'll come back.
All right. We'll do the business. Shannon, do you have anything?
No, I'm all set.
George?
Yeah, I did, but do it now.
We can come back.
Mike?
I'll go slow. No.
Yeah, I don't have anything. So I have a motion to go into executive session.
I will make said motion.
Second? All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Opposed? None.
Thank you.